BigHerc916, positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know how we do it over here. For a lot of you out there who find yourself in situations that are bad situations, situations where you've gotten caught up or involved in something that has led you down a dark path, you gotta use some foresight when you're making these moves that aren't really the right moves for you to grow or excel in life. And what I mean by that is if you're out and you're at a bar and you're around people who are inebriated, people drinking, there could be possibly a likeliness of some type of misappropriations, bad behavior. You're setting yourself up. What do you expect to get or gain from putting yourself in an environment that's environment where people have been drinking, possibly doing drugs, maybe not the best moral compass? I mean, come on, man. You got to think that if you go into places like this, know your outs and understand what could possibly go down. If you're at an event that's centered around hostile music, you know that there are going to be people there from a particular demographic. Then if somebody starts shooting or fighting or getting into a scuffle, that's to be expected because of the type of people that's at the event. And it's not calling out anybody. It's just what it is. You got to pay attention, man, because you can't go into a situation and then when something happens be like, oh man, blah blah blah. It is what it is. It's like going to church. You go to church, you're gonna get the word, you're gonna leave there feeling good, and the likeliness of something negative happening while you're getting the word of God is next to none. Sometimes you have these weird things that you get people who are demonic that try to go in there and disrupt the service, but for the most part, it's a place that's protected by the Lord. So just know that, when you're making choices, when you're out here doing things, going after these IG models, these girls, on OnlyFans, and then you find out that the girl is cheating on you, or you hook up with her and then she come to find out she robbed you. I mean, what did you expect, man? She's unscrupulous. She's been manipulating men since she's been dating to get things. So how you think she's going to love you? You think she's going to give you her heart and, oh, daddy, you're the one? She's been telling that to so many guys. She don't know up from down. That's her game. And so when she burns you or pretends that she loves you and has your kid and then takes you to court for child support because you're balling, you got into bed with Jezebel. You should have known that she was about to come up. Don't lie to yourself. It's like hanging out with some cats. You know that these dudes, they ain't never been loyal to anything in their life. They steal from their mama, and you're hanging out with them. These are the homies. You have seen how they burnt other homies or gotten over. The character of these guys is not becoming, but you're hanging out with them. You can't expect anything good to come from that. Even though you might have gotten some money, it only takes the guy to wake up one day and say, you know what? I think today's the day that I'm going to rob him. And instead of you guys doing a deal, this guy decides to get over or burn you or leave you hanging. And you're like, why'd he do that? Well, you knew he was like that because you've heard of him doing that to somebody else, or he's talked about it. but yet, you gave him the benefit of the doubt. Well, if a guy, that his track record is more dirt than positive, it's not somebody that you should be dealing with business with. So you got to watch who you get in bed with when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships. And if somebody has truly made a change, give them time to prove themselves before you decide to embrace them or let them back into your world. A lot of these people are just sinners, man. They're sinners in a sense where they don't care about nobody but themselves. And when you meet people in certain places, you have to question their ethics because of where you met them at. And if you're there trying to explore that, you got to question what you expect to get from that, knowing that that environment is already in a compromised environment. There's certain places I don't even go. I see like maybe there's a group I like or music I like, and if it's at a certain spot, I'm like hesitant to even entertain going there because I don't want to deal with the elements that are there, even though I enjoy the music. Whether it be a concert, whether it be a car show, whether it be a festival, certain things, it's not worth it. I like the food, I like the vibe, but there's certain people that will be there that could possibly be detrimental to my well-being or others' well-being. And I don't want to get caught in the crossfire of somebody getting into it with somebody else, and I just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So that's the biggest thing you have to take into accountability, is being in the wrong place at the wrong time, even though you were there to have a good time, but not everybody's there on the same time you're on. And I'm not saying you can't go to a bar and enjoy yourself. There's plenty of bars where it's not a bad area, but certain bars where that if there's an element, don't put yourself in that situation. It's like going to certain functions. Hey, you might want to go and show up and chop it up with some people, but is it worth it? To go and compromise yourself possibly with someone there that doesn't like you because they're a hater? You got to pick and choose, man. Same thing when you're dealing with women, man. You got to pick and choose. Yeah, you're gonna bust some cheeks, you're gonna have fun, get your freak on, but that this female used to be a woman of the night, a woman of the streets, but yet she says she's down for you or whatever, she's vibing with you, but let there be a reason for her to justify that you are out of pocket. The wrath is coming out, bro, and you're gonna get burnt like some old bacon, man. So is it worth it? That's a question you got to ask yourself. Hanging out with certain groups of people, because you think, oh man, this is cool. You got to pick and choose, and you got to know that if you open yourself up for certain situations, there's things you got to take into consideration that may go down. And so that trade-off, you got to ask yourself whether or not that's something you want to take part in. But a lot of times I just choose to stay away. I've been to a couple, functions where great music, people were cool. The thing that balances out was the location. It kind of put it kind of put the brakes on acting stupid, because this particular area, if you acted stupid, you were going to jail. So, you don't want to be stupid in this particular venue and think that you're going to get away with it. And that's the only reason I went, because I knew that this was an area where the safety was more focused. But if it's like something where I know like my safety be compromised, my wife's safety, or the element's going to be there, I avoid it, man. I avoid the element. I know you're young, it's fun, you're around the element, you're doing this and that, you're thinking it's cool, but at the end of the day, is it really worth it, man? Is it really worth it to go into this particular apartment because this little hoochie mama's over there, and she got a big ass, and you want to blow her back out, but then her ex is some crazy ex gang member, and you happen to be there longer than you intended to. Now this dude is talking about coming over, or he has some partners that seen you come over, and now they're waiting for you to leave. I knew a guy who hooked up with this female, and met her at the little diner, little waitress, and he messed around and went back to her apartment, busted her cheeks. It was late night. This dude was he was black. He went to this neighborhood, was a Hispanic neighborhood. He came outside in the morning and his tires were flattened. Now he called me and I came by there to give him a ride, but had he went out there to try to maybe repair his tires, he would have got his head busted, because that was probably the home girl, and he was busting her cheeks, and they didn't appreciate that. And that's the kind of stupid shit that can get you unalived, get you killed, man, because you were somewhere where you shouldn't have been, and you don't know the environment. Even though she's a good girl, maybe she's, she works and got a job, and she's not really interested in the guys in the neighborhood, but she lives there. It still puts you at risk. So you got to think, man. You got to think, is it worth the sinning, the busting the cheeks, or, should you have, maybe said, hey, come to my part of town where it's safer, and we can hang out and have a good time. But yeah, you just got to watch your movements, man, because a lot of times, your situational awareness can save your life. And knowing that after a certain time at night, nothing but bad things happen. If you're out at 2:00 at night, that's the witching hour. The goons and goblins are out. If you're still running around at a function at that time and dudes is wide awake, they on some old vampire shit, man. Watch yourself out there, and yeah, man, you live and learn. I'd rather you guys learn and live than to be caught up or have to protect yourself and get caught up in a situation now where you're trying to explain yourself. So BigHerc916, how we do it. Like, subscribe, share the channel.
The popos are coming. I gotta hurry up and wash my ass. Go to BigHerc916.com, pick you up a bar of soap, and wash your ass, or else you're gonna be under arrest too. Oh,
kid. Officially, I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight-A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey against all odds.